The real success stories told by the people who live them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the hit streak.
Greetings, folks. I am so excited and thrilled to welcome you all to the very first episode, the pilot episode of the HITSTREAK podcast, happening right here in Nashville, Tennessee. I am your host, Nick Hyder, and I'm so thrilled to have everybody with us today. And I'm also excited to let you guys know, to let you folks know that I have a very special guest to kick off the podcast series right here, my own cousin, the Office Manager and one of our executive assistants right here at Team Hyder. I've got my very own cousin, Dale Hyder, in the house today. Dale, how we feeling, man?
I am honored to be your first guest today.
And I didn't even have to pay him to say it, did I? I didn't even have to pay him to say it. Well, Dale, let's talk a little bit about you for a minute. Let's let these folks know who you are. So, Dale, born and raised right here in Nashville, Tennessee, a booming town, and there's
More so now than it used to be, for sure.
That's right, and there's more or less and less people that were born and raised here. We're harder and harder to find, aren't we?
I think I'm one of the 7 left.
Are we moving away, or are we just outnumbered?
Outnumbered at this point, I think.
That's right. Well, you graduated from Antioch High School, and you retired after 39 years working for a major telecommunications company. You retired in 2017, right? So, first of all, tell us a little bit about that retirement, because obviously I just told them you're doing something else. So, what's happening?
Way back in the Stone Age, I went to work in Brentwood, 1978, in June of that year. Held a multitude of different positions and titles, was able to hang on for 39 years, spent my last 17 or 18 years downtown, and finally was able to finish it out in June of 2017.
Tell me about retirement.
Have not regretted a day of it. I was 56 when I retired. I took a buyout and left a little early, and have not missed a day of it. It has been wonderful.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
That's what it's all about. One of my favorite things that you say is that when you were working, you used to swing your feet off the side of the bed and find a reason not to have to go in, right? So how is that swing differently these days?
I would get up in the mornings and throw my feet over the side of the bed and say, "Dear God, what can I do not to have to go downtown today?" And it's a joy to do something you want to do as opposed to something you have to do.
Amen. That's, you know what that is? That's the very first hit we've added to the hit streak on the podcast right there, baby. All right.
Was it a single or a double?
You know what? We'll let the audience decide. We'll let the audience decide. However, whenever you hear that sound, that's because we just added another hit to the hit streak, and that's what we're here to do, baby, right? That's what we're here to do.
Exactly.
So you started with Team Hyder in 2019, okay? Tell me, did you have any expectations when you were coming in versus what's actually happening? Tell us a little bit about that history, that story there.
Well, when we met to discuss this out in the office out there at Music Valley Drive,
The Opryland area.
You told me what you were looking for, and I felt like I could fulfill what you were looking for, but it has developed into a lot more than that, different things. You've headed different directions now, and I have learned a ton. But as far as the expectations, I just enjoy knowing what somebody has set out for me to do, what they need me to do. As long as I know that, I'm in good shape.
Right on. So you said you've learned a lot. Well, You've been here a little over 2 years,
Yeah.
and you've learned a lot. Versus the 39, you probably learned a lot there too, I guess.
I did. I picked up a lot of valuable skills out there. A lot of what I use here.
So, but out there you were a W-2 salaried employee. Out here, you're 1099, right? And so that's a totally different world because, well, the most important reason is because we don't have HR. Would you say we take full advantage of that? Absolutely. Well, what are some of the things like? Let's tell our audience a little bit of difference about the difference between the corporate life versus the non-corporate life.
Okay. Well, again, I mean, you are evaluations for one. We had evaluations out there. You were either less than satisfactory, or more than satisfactory. That's how you were graded. And if you didn't end up at the bottom of their spreadsheet where they wanted you to be, you were less than satisfactory. I mean, it's what they wanted you to do was attainable, but you were not like here. You're encouraged to do the best that you can do because it's all for you as opposed to going towards somebody else. I mean,
right. Right.
That's probably the biggest difference. I mean, people are free to make choices here. You were told what to do, where to be, and how to do it there.
Right.
Which, I mean, is the way it's set up. That's fair. I mean,
absolutely.
You do what they want you to do, and if you do that, then there's
sure
a check at the end of the week.
Well, giant companies like that,
yeah,
they didn't get where they are by accident, and the way their business models are made, they're always evaluating and making changes and making them current with the times, or at least they're trying. So there's definitely a purpose, and all the reasons that the companies are structured that way, it 100% makes sense and matters, right? So, if you hadn't figured out, this is a little bit of a business, a storytelling podcast.
Yeah, and in June of 1978, when I was 2 weeks out of high school and went to work there, things like this didn't exist.
Sure.
There was no internet. There was no cell phone. There were no beepers. If anybody remembers beepers, we were just thrilled to death when they gave us a beeper. We just thought that was
sure
the height of technology at that point.
Well, that's kind of this is a great first episode because we're giving everybody a little bit of a taste. So we're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet. That's right. And so look, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, and I have been so privileged to run across some of the most amazing people, the people that are truly living what I believe is the American dream. I mean, I have friends that are parents to 4 and 5 kids. Some of them are Division I athletes in college. So they've got kids spread out all over the United States. They own multiple businesses. These kids range from like 10, 11 years old all the way up to 22, 23 years old. And I'm just amazed at not only do they get it all done and are they not raising amazing kids, but their businesses are thriving. And there are some amazing folks right here in this town that I'm really looking forward to getting here on the show to come tell their story. And because I believe it's truly inspiring. I believe those are the stories that the public needs to hear, because we are the public. You know what I mean? So, and this is raw. All this stuff is unedited. So it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited to see how it goes. And obviously, everything we do is going to continue to get better and better and better as we do it, right? So, all right, well, let's get back to you for a minute. What are some of your favorite things about working here with the Team Hider crew?
Honestly, working with family is right up there at the top of the list. I get to work with people from a lot of age groups, from 20 years, people that have just graduated from college, all the way up to 40 and 50 years old, and it's interesting to see development as far as age groups of different people and how they approach things.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my favorite books, my son's actually reading it right now, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he reads a certain amount every night before he goes to bed. And we talk about it on the way to school in the morning every day. And that's one of the things that Robert mentions is that, one of my favorite sayings by Grant Cardone is that the American dream is that's really the bank's dream. Like that was go to school, go to college, get in debt, get married, buy a house, get in more debt. Seems really good for the banks. But for a long time and for generations, I mean, I have grandparents that lived a heck of a life doing that. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't work that way as much anymore. It's different. I didn't have a job waiting on me when I got out of school. And I got out of school, how long ago has it been now? Gosh, I graduated in...
Not nearly as long as me.
2003. And this was college, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of the folks may not know that after college, I was fortunate enough to be a professional athlete. I played professional baseball until 2007. I retired on my own terms. Me and I won't throw the teams under the bus, but the franchises that I played for, I believed that I should play more, and I believed that I was worth more than they were willing to pay me. We didn't see eye to eye, so it was time for me to make a change at some point in time. And my journey to get here has been cloaked with tons of successes and tons of failures just alike. And all those things have led us to where we're at now. And my wife, Rhiannon, who she will be a guest on one of the next few episodes, she may or may not know that yet, but she'll be a great one. That'll be one that everybody loves. And but we're going to talk a lot about that and that history and how we're raising a 12-year-old son and a now 5-month-old daughter. And our son is, we're raising him differently to a certain degree than we were raised. He's already been cast in a Broadway show and all kinds of stuff at the tender age of 12, and he's in the 6th grade, and he plays competitive travel sports. So the bottom line is we're surrounded by amazing people. We're just surrounded by amazing people, and I'm really excited to bring those people here and tell those stories. And I told Dale when we first came up with the concept of where this podcast was going to come from. And it was launched with literally around 150 video clips as well as me doing a mini tour on other people's podcasts. Mm-hmm. That was kind of what led to this. It was a year in the making, including building a studio that didn't exist. And quite frankly, my buddies over at AVLX who did a hell of a job putting this together for us. This is one of one. It's one of a kind, and I'm really proud of it. We're really excited about it. We're really excited about the other people that get to come in here and we'll be able to utilize the technology and all those things. They can't use this, though. That's just for us. That's just for us. But when we're telling these stories and the point's made, man, it's the point's made and it's something that people need to remember. We're going to be adding hits to the hit streak, and we're going to be doing it multiple times every single episode, right? So, all right. So besides the diversity in age, Dale, what are some of the other favorite things you love about being here?
The atmosphere, the challenge of doing some different things that I've been used to doing. You go into a place such as I was employed for those many years, and you're told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and why. Well, not necessarily why to do it, just get it done. But, it's not a humdrum existence, shall we say, around here. I get to do different things, different days. Variety, I guess, is a good word for what goes on. Like I said, and you never know who's going to come in. Met some amazing people here.
Oh yeah,
it's just been fun.
Well, that is the culture that we do like to build, and it's a place where, gosh, being here, this life is an absolute gift. And being a believer, I believe that we were all put here for a reason. And just so many people, I don't feel like they ever figure out what that reason is. I don't feel like they ever truly accomplish. I mean, most of us don't. Most of us don't accomplish what we have. Like, we're not utilizing the God-given gifts that we've been given.
Well, we settle.
That's another one. We do settle. And I was reading the other day that most people sacrifice what they want in life for what they want right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's that place where commitment and convenience collide.
I have seen that here in the time I've been here. Yes.
Oh, it's a disease, man.
Yeah.
It's a disease. And that place where commitment and convenience collide, convenience almost always wins.
It does a lot, for sure.
It almost always wins. And it's because they're going to take what they want now for what they really wanted in the big picture, right? And everybody starts, when they start anything new, they're incredibly motivated, they're incredibly excited, but that motivation does wear off over time because of the new factor, right? And then what happens past that, like your habits and the work that you do is what keeps it going. It's a lot like a marriage or a relationship. Like, everybody's relationship with their spouse was probably amazing when it first started. It was probably exciting and all the unknowns and the learning and all those things, but like, that doesn't have to stop, yet it does. You know, and the people that probably stop those the most, or are the most guilty of those, they're probably the same people that, like, I mean, think about it. You're put here on this earth, you're born, and then you reinvent yourself the moment you learn how to do your first thing, whatever that may be. And then there's rolling over. We're doing it right now with our 5-month-old, rolling over, sitting up, learning to crawl, learning to walk. You keep reinventing yourself, right? And then you the first time you play your first ball game or your first dance recital or anything, your first words, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way through school, you reinvent yourself every single year, at least once. And then you get your job and you stop. That's a disease. That happens to a lot of people. I don't understand that either. Like, you have the ability to reinvent yourself as many times as you want, over and over and over again, and you get to decide who that person's going to be. We're getting hot now, ain't we? Yes, sir.
Another one, we may drive a couple in.
That's right. That's right. We might need a scoreboard. Right. We might. Well, Dale, like, so you're involved in this podcast. You're involved in this show. You're involved in a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. You're involved in making sure that the guests are prepped and have what they need, and so many things that you're doing. What are you most excited about this show, with what you get to do and all that stuff?
Probably the people that it's going to bring in. Just strictly having this facility here.
Yeah.
And when people find out about it and word spreads, I think it's going to be a very exciting time.
Well, the one thing I can guarantee is that because I'm involved in it, the word will spread. Oh, yes. The word will spread. Everybody will know.
Notification will be no problem.
That's right. And I'll be honest with you, man. Podcasts have been around for a long time. Obviously, when quarantine happened, they became more of an everyday thing. And I really didn't even start listening to them probably, man, until the COVID stuff happened. Like, I'm probably pretty new to the podcast world as far as just constantly paying attention to them and subscribing and listening and things like that. Man, it's a totally different world, and it's amazing. People ask me, like, Nick, why would you want a show? Why would I want a show? Well, besides of all the reasons that I've already listed, it's an unbelievable networking tool. To just, the people that I went on their shows, I now have been able to keep relationships with those people. And now I'm fortunate enough to call them colleagues and friends. And I would not know those people had they not had a show to invite me to go be on. You know what I mean? And I had a great run, man. Look, the very first podcast that I went in-house to be on was Dropping Bombs with the real Brad Lee. And I mean, that's an unbelievable platform. Our social media, our Instagram grew thousands just after being on that show.
Kind of like starting at the top, isn't it?
Man, it really was. I was fortunate enough. The very first one I ever went on was a buddy of mine, Cameron Harmon, and he has a Hermit Radio, and he has a great little podcast, multiple series. He's actually just released a book, and I'm reading that book right now. He's going to be one of our guests on the show. He was the first one that I ever did. I don't know if he knows that. And that was a great time. And then there was I did the Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee. I was on All In with Rick Jordan, another phenomenal podcast. And actually, that was a two-part of the CEO Society podcast. There was multiple ones that we went and did on that little tour, and it was fantastic. And I learned a lot from those, and all that was to launch this. It was truly to launch this. So, folks, like, first of all, if there's any people that you'd like to see on the show, we'd love to hear from you on those, right? We'd love to get that list together. You better believe my list is this long, but I would love to hear from you, right?
We take requests.
We do take requests. And I'm excited to tell you guys more about how we got here and the stories, and how our stories are so much like a lot of the people that are going to come in. But so Dale, if folks wanted to connect with you, for any reason, whether it just be to see what's going on in your life, in your family life, or to hit you up on any type of social media for maybe to book here, or maybe to come interview with me for one of our open positions or anything like that, what are some places on social media in which people could connect with you? Facebook.
I am starting to get on Instagram a little bit.
Yeah, you are. That's right.
I'm an old Instagram guy. And of course, here at Team Hyder itself.
That's right. So Team Hyder is on all social media platforms at Team Hyder, except for Twitter. It's at Hyder Team. Thanks, Twitter. Still love you though. And you can check out more on the Hit Lab right here where we're at right now on hitlabstudio.com, and of course the podcast, the HITSTREAK, which is hitstreakpodcast.com. I'm Nick Hyder. I'm all over social media on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them, you name it, at Nick Hyder. Easy to find. Let's connect on social media.
You can't get away from him. He's all over the place.
That's right, baby. That's right. That's how we roll. Well, Dale, is there anything else that we should leave our amazing audience with as we come to a close of our very first pilot episode of the HITSTREAK podcast?
Just that we appreciate the support. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this. I don't know how. I'm sure there will be many more interesting guests than what I am, but it's been a blast. Everybody remembers their first. Well, this is true. Good or bad, they remember it.
That's right. And another thing, folks. So Dale graduated from Antioch. I was born and raised 5 minutes from where I sit today. But you will notice there will always be a red Solo cup on our desks. And
yes,
that's to remind us this was fine china. This was fine china. When we got the good china out at the family holidays, we got the red Solo cups, right? But this is just to remind us of where we came from.
Sometimes they would be washed and saved.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? And I'd like to say that we like to remember where we came from, where we come from, and so on and so forth. We're fortunate enough now we don't have to wash and save them anymore.
No, they generally are disposed of after the first use at this point.
That's right. But as you enjoy the show with us, raise a glass. Raise a red Solo cup, and cheers, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on our very first episode. Dale, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And hey, man, on to the next one, right?
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward, baby. Let's go. Thank you guys for being here. God bless.